much of yourself are you willing to give away to a search engine? A look at privacy and encryption in the Tom Hanks, Emma Watson flick The Circle with Rosario Gennaro, our scientist of secrets. Ahead on Science Goes to the Movies. Welcome to Science Goes to the Movies, a look at the stories of science and how they change our culture. I'm Faith Saley, and I am delighted to welcome back Rosario Gennaro, director of City College's Center for Algorithms and Interactive Scientific Software. Easy for me to say. Welcome back to our show, Rosario.
Thank you for having me back.
In the 2017 film, The Circle, Emma Watson and Tom Hanks work for a Google-like internet company pushing the boundaries of privacy.
So, May, do you think you behave better or worse when you are being watched? We have cameras in place all over the world right now.
Watching you. We used to go on adventures, we used to have fun and see things, and now it's all filtered through this. Does this really seem okay to you? Watching you.
I didn't create this. This is not what I had in mind.
Watching you.
Things at the Circle, they need to change.
Watching you.
Everything recorded, seen, broadcast is stored and analyzed here. They can use it however they see fit, no matter what it's cost.
Knowing is good, but knowing everything is better.
There is a scene early in the movie where Watson's character walks into this elevator. And the walls of that little box are all interactive screens, which is very cool. And as she walks in, those screens erupt in a riot of her personal information that the elevator has stolen off her phone and the internet. And she's so taken with the remarkable technology of it that she doesn't see that her personal files have been invaded. So, Rosario, here in the real world, do you think we're sort of trading our privacy for the, wow, that's so cool factor of new technology?
At some level, I think we are. I think there is so much that we can get from going online and seeing things that are related to our interests and our life, and most of it is exploited for advertising. But we sort of like to go online and see, look, you've been to this restaurant, do you want to go to this other restaurant, or you saw this play, you enjoyed this play, this movie, right?
I find it creepy, though.
Exactly. So, but I think there is a backlash going on that people are beginning to realize that we are giving away too much, and that we're not really aware of what we're giving away. That's really what's beginning to sort of dawn on us, that yes, we're sharing, but this sharing of our life is somehow exploited in ways that we didn't really anticipate it. And so I think there is, at some level, this wow factor is getting a little old, and people are beginning to pick up the creepiness of it, as you really said really well.
Do you think we're sharing much more than we know we're sharing?
Definitely.
How? Like, for example, what?
We don't see the connections. We don't see the connections between what we post online on a daily basis and what can be gleaned and understood and sort of inferred.
Can you give me an example? So I'm shopping for toys for my kid online.
Right.
What?
And I'll give you a very good example
Okay.
that happened to a friend of mine. And you put a search box and you make a typo, which this is exactly what happened to my friend. And the typo brought him to a website for a girdle, some sort of, body compression device. And he said, okay, I made a typo, and went back. And 5 minutes later, he got a phone call from a company selling girdles. Say, so I see you're looking for this model, but we have a better model. Do you want to buy our model? And he was completely shocked that even a typo could be exploited that way, and that his phone number and his address and everything was somehow recovered by this sales company. to try to sell them digital goods. And I think from there, the next step is trying to infer our psychological traits to be used for political gains, as we all learning these days. And it's just escalating to levels that we were not maybe aware when we started participating in this sharing experiment over the internet.
In the movie, Watson's parents are horrified by by her willingness to surrender, her every waking moment to this worldwide digital audience, but she still shares everything. Is there a generational gap between digital natives and digital immigrants when it comes to privacy?
So I think at the beginning there was, but I remember my parents, for example, being a little skeptical of some of my Facebook habits, or let's put it this way. But the truth is that I think the divide is between the people who are comfortable with the technology and the people who are not comfortable with the technology. So people who have learned how to use a smartphone or an iPad or a computer device, I don't think they're that much more reluctant to share. I think it's actually for older people, as there's the interview in the movie when Watson's character is interviewed and say, well, explain this to your grandmother. And there is a component of it's going to make your life so much easier. Everything, your prescriptions, your health aid, and everything might go into one service. And all you have to do is get on your smartphone and tap a button. That I think there's no divide at that level. I think if you manage to learn the technology, which is something where I think is more of the generational divide, then it's just so easy that I think even older people are participating without, understanding what they're giving up.
But in general, and this is funny for me to say because I do have a somewhat public career, so I'm constantly being told, get out there on social media. And in general, I know how to use all the technology platforms, but I don't want to. And I make a living sort of expressing myself and often giving my own opinions on television or in writing, and I still don't want to share that much of my life. So how would you characterize the people who choose to open up online and people who don't?
I think there is a level of self-awareness, maybe, that this somehow ability to think about what am I doing, why am I doing it, and what am I to gain from doing this. For me, and I probably err more on the side, in spite of being a privacy and security professional, I err more on the side of being okay with sharing.
You do?
Oh yeah, I have a pretty active Facebook profile, but it's mostly about some of my trips, or it's for me a way to share some of my extracurricular activity with my friends and with my family, which is all far away. And again, it was the convenience factor that I have to just push a button and all the pictures from my trips are immediately visible to my parents who are down on the other side of the planet. But I am sort of also walking back from that because I'm beginning to realize all the consequences of it. And I think there are people who are more aware of that. And I think it really come down to self-awareness and full understanding of the implication of putting so much online.
We're both parents, and I'm guessing you have some thoughts on digital privacy and children.
Yes.
What are they? What should we be doing?
Me and my husband are first of all, we are trying to limit the amount of device and screen time that our kids get. And in general, that's more to do with brain development and the ability of interacting than just privacy. But when it comes to privacy, we are actually, and I think much of my distancing from social media has been coming from experiencing through my children. I'll give you a little anecdote. My daughter is in 4th grade, and our teacher has begun to use laptops for them to write their essays and their homework. And then everything is on Google Docs, and then they share it with their parents through just by clicking the button. They all have a Gmail account, and it's all very convenient for the teacher. And she also has motivated it with a sense of an educational value for it, which is definitely there. But we had this sort of back and forth with the teacher about everything that our children are doing on a Google Doc is immediately available to Google. And it's mined for information that then might define a persona, an online persona, that I think a 9-year-old child should not begin to be defined that way. And that's exactly why we have schools. We want them to grow, right? And this activity on a 9-year-old is already going to put them in a box of what they are, and will condition their future Google searches, that will condition their future, the ads that they receive.
Because of the content in their essays?
The content of your essay.
Because someone or something is looking at them?
There is an algorithm that looks at the content of your Google Drives and the content of your Gmail and personalize your Google searches, for example.
At all times? Anytime,
at all times. Your Google search and my Google search will return different results.
But also our email? Like there is some algorithm that is trolling our email to see what words we use and our syntax or something?
Yes. And you have a profile on that will be used to serve you better internet results. And the idea,
hence the server.
Right. And the idea that a 9-year-old child is beginning to limit herself that way is somehow, for me, it's against the whole idea of education, which they are supposed to open up their
possibilities,
and create their personality rather than.
And when you explain it that way, I feel guilty as an adult that we are actually the ones enrolling our children in this.
Exactly,
but my kids are 3 and 5, and we started Gmail accounts for them from when they were born, and I send them emails almost every day about something funny they did that day.
Right.
Or their grandparents can send them an email.
Right.
And it never occurred to me that personalized account for them to open someday when they're 8 or 9 and read all these funny stories is being observed.
Right. Well, and it's done in a very, nobody really reads your email, but there's a machine learning algorithm that will sort of, and it's combined again with the content of your drive, your search history, which is fully visible to Google, and how much time you spend on certain websites, how much time you just look and move away. So all of that it's a profile of you. And when you think of it that way, and seeing it through the eyes of, do I want to put my daughter and my son through that, it sort of helped me sort of starting to remove myself a little bit. But again, Google Docs and Google Drive is an incredible sharing platform, which makes my professional career very easy, because it's very easy to somehow collaborate with other researchers from other universities by just sharing a Google Doc or other sharing.
There's always a weighing privacy versus efficiency.
And so we made it so convenient that privacy has sort of gone down. And to me, that's where, going back to the generational divide, it's really not much of an age thing, but it's really about convenience and this self-awareness that this convenience comes at a price.
The Circle teases the concept that a for-profit online monolith could do a better job containing and controlling voter data and registration than the U.S. government. When we were rifling through all your papers, we found your most cited study from way back in 1997.
You make me sound so old.
I was definitely alive then too. And it was about multi-authority election schemes.
Right.
That's like terrible Mad Lib. Like, I don't want the words multi-authority and schemes surrounding the word election. What is that paper about?
So the paper is exactly about trying not to rely on a single entity. So
so not, for example, not one company that makes the voting booths.
Exactly. So we were thinking about how can we distribute this power of receiving, tallying, and computing the votes and the results among several different authorities, so that if one of them is corrupted or is infected by a virus, the corruption doesn't have to be malicious. It could be just a bug in the code. We are still enough confidence that the result is correct. So we looked at ways of sharing what, it's a very standard tool by now in cryptography, which is called secret sharing. How do you take
synchro sharing?
Secret sharing.
Oh, secret sharing.
Yeah. How do you take a secret and give it to a bunch of people so that you can reconstruct the secret, but not only if everybody agrees that they have to put it together.
You should just ask a bunch of 8th grade girls.
Oh yeah,
I think they're experts.
Yeah. So, but the truth is that we were looking at a particular problem in the designing of a large-scale election system. There is so much more that comes into play if you want to design a country-scale election system, which is how do you authenticate voters? How do you make sure that your software is running correctly? So this entire end-to-end security is such a large problem that today, every time this idea we should be voting on the internet comes up, a bunch of us in my community, we all come out with letters saying, no, we're not ready. We're not ready. The amount of risk of hacking and compromise.
Well, I can't imagine that we'll ever be ready. I think people will get better at hacking. But I do want to say, I think you totally enlightened me that the words multi-authority election scheme, that's actually a good idea.
That's a good idea. The multi refers to sharing this responsibility across several. So you can think like you can have one part of the key given to the Justice Department, one part of the key given to the legislative branch of the government, and so on. One part of the key given to a private entity, the United Nations, if you think this country is at risk, and let everybody cooperate.
I give part of it to high school seniors nowadays too.
Right.
all of these internet giants like Facebook and Google search, they're all free for us to use, and we put a ton of human information on these servers about our lives, right? Okay, so Rosario, I don't know a lot about machine learning, so please tell me if I'm wrong. But for a machine to learn something simple, such as how to recognize the difference between, say, a pair of pants and a shirt, it needs an enormous number of unique inputs that indicate, these are pants, this is a shirt. And machines are acquiring those inputs from our activity on the internet. And when we use all these seemingly free spaces on the internet, when we allow the program to access our private data, we are providing free labor in the gigantic task of making machines smarter, right? Is that how it works?
Basically, that's how it works. And we are providing the data that will make this algorithm more and more intelligent and more accurate. There's actually recent news. It's this political consulting firm had this psychometric model that was able to, by looking your Facebook profiles, figure out what kind of person you are, what kind of more likely to vote, and what it would be the best strategy to sort of make you reconsider, confirm your political disposition, or make you change it. And they needed the data to test it. And they managed to get the data of 50 million Facebook users without their consent. And just because they were cooperating with an academic researcher who had said that this was going to be used only for academic purposes, but then the data somehow ended up in the hands of this political consulting firm. And just by looking at, this is where I go traveling, and this is where I go eat, and this is where how much I share and how much I don't share, they're able to somehow figure out where you are on the political spectrum, and that's really incredible. But without our data, they wouldn't be able to test and improve their algorithms.
So that's a cautionary tale. But
Yeah.
in general, do you think it's a fair trade?
No.
You don't think it's a fair
Absolutely
trade?
not.
That we get to
Absolutely not.
use these servers for free, put everything we want up there, share it, and they
not.
okay.
Absolutely not. I think we are allowing this massive advertising in the most benign version of it. It's massive advertising, targeted advertising, which is just building up on our activities and without our consent most of the time.
Should we get paid for this? We're doing the work.
Yeah, you can think of it that way, or I think more for me, for my professional kind of attitude, I think more than we should get paid, I think we should have a better control on what we are. So
More explicit consent.
more explicit consent and more explicit. So we should be able to decide what we're willing to give for free and what's valuable to us. Let's put it this way. I said, should we get paid? Maybe I don't want to get paid for some stuff, and maybe some stuff is more valuable to me. And we should be able to somehow figure it out. But it's also something that we should look at it as a regulatory body rather than individual. The individual consent model is obviously not working. Nobody reads the fine print,
No.
and there's so many ways of sort of going around it.
I don't think most
we
people
have
care,
to
right.
look exactly, and we
They don't
have,
know they should care.
We have to look at data privacy as a social good that should be regulated by the government and not just left to individuals to somehow arrange for themselves.
My Google Drive is not my Google Drive. It's Google's Google Drive.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It belongs to Google, and all the data that you put there belongs to Google.
I have to say, this conversation with you leaves me, it makes me nervous and almost angry at how much we give away and how much is
Right.
taken from us. But on the other hand, you're still fairly sanguine about, like, you have a Facebook profile.
I have a
and
Facebook
so
profile,
if you're okay with it,
I have
then
I resisted Gmail for a long time, and then I joined it because of the convenience.
I don't have Gmail. Does that mean no one's ever going to see what I write in my email?
No, because I think once Gmail started doing it, a lot of these other
Everybody-
providers
okay.
started doing it as well. But again, the Gmail was a convenience factor because it was linked to my Google Drive, and everything was seamless, and my sharing of information, and then you think, oh, I have nothing to hide, and so I'm not that worried. And then I said that once, and I was at a round table, and this privacy expert, and I was talking to some undergraduates, and I said, well, when I get so concerned about things, I sort of tell myself I have nothing to hide. And this other privacy expert, which was at the round table, said, well, I beg to differ. I hope all of you have something to hide. Otherwise, we should all have something to hide, because otherwise we're not, our identity, our own person.
We're not keeping anything
right.
to ourselves.
And this
yeah.
comes up in the movie when Emma Watson's character says secrets are lies, and we shouldn't have any secrets. When we are not watched, we behave badly. That was sort of like the underlying motivation for her to go transparent. And the reality is that secrets are what define us in ways that allows us also to be free, right? So, and for me, particularly like growing up as a gay man, that secret was what allowed me to eventually come out. But it wouldn't be, it had to be a secret for a while
And
for
it
me.
shaped you in
And it shaped me,
fundamental
right?
ways.
And I couldn't be myself if I had not had that privacy cloud of living in a big city and being able to explore who I was without having everybody watching me, because if I thought that I was watched, I would have been constrained.
Yeah.
So it's very important that this idea, oh, I have nothing to hide, which is what you hear a lot, and what I'm sharing is somewhat innocent and there's really no problem, is it's really not fully true. And we should think about what we want to hide about ourselves.
And maybe
secrets
hide,
are not necessarily
hide has a
bad.
negative connotation.
Right.
What do we keep to ourselves?
Right.
What means private?
Right. What
I
is
wrote
private?
a memoir, and people think, "Oh, I know everything about you," and I think, "No, I'm a writer. I wrote a character. I wrote parts of my life, but I held the most important things, some of them
Right.
back, because they belong to me."
Right.
Yeah, we have nothing to hide until you end up being sold a girdle you didn't want. You have to be careful how you spell Spanx on the internet.
Right.
I'm telling you, Rosario. We love having you here. In fact,
you.
so much that I'm not going to let you go without promising to come back.
I'll come back.
Because I need to ask you about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and Bitcoin wallets and things like that. So will you please come back?
I'll be happy to come back.
Okay, thank you. And you know, in between now and the next time we see you, I'll just become Facebook friends with you so I know what's going on. Okay?
I'd love to.